So we'll do a quick part 2 here on kind of what to do with them secondaries on the setup on these Q-jets. I kind of showed everybody how to set them up in that last video. You know, where they dump open all the way, like this guy here, the spring. Whoever had this one before me, they busted that spring down here that is talking about. There's that screw right there. There's a spring on that screw. It's still there, but the end of the spring's broke. There's that little Allen head screw right there. So you loosen that Allen head screw, and then you turn that screw, if your spring ain't broke, until you get the tension you want on these here. And then when you get the tension you want with that screw right there, then you go ahead and tighten that Allen head back down. Tighten that Allen head back down. And that goes all the way through and hits that screw and keeps that screw from turning, so it keeps the tension you put on there. So, too bad this guy broke them, but don't over tighten them. You want them pretty snug, but that's what happened here. This guy's just, whoever had it, over tightened them and broke the end off the spring. So, but once you start setting those up like that, what I didn't really get into in my other video was your fuel into the deal. And I mean, a lot of times the factory specs when you get a rebuild kit, it'll say this is the way you're supposed to gauge them. You're supposed to have you got your top plate off, your float's exposed. You just lay the gauge they got you on top down there, and you push down on your needle and seat right there. That little wire you see is the wire clip that goes on the needle. That needle, while we're talking about it, it goes on that little half dome right there. You can see how it's coming up from around that half dome. That's where that should be, that little wire right there. A lot of people clip them through the holes, or I've seen them clip them all the way off to one side on that front edge. And it doesn't work there. It doesn't float up and down freely. There you go. Yeah, that wire should be on that half dome, hooked on that and hanging there, not in the holes. If it's in the holes, it's going to hang and put drag on the seat part of it, and it can make it flood or act really stupid from there. But you just gently push down right on top of that wire until that needle bottoms out in the seat. You can see this right here. We're on 30 seconds. So we're set right at 8:30 seconds. It's a 1/4 inch. That's right about where I like to set them. I put a black mark in there at 3/16 to a 1/4 inch. If I'm four-wheeling, that's where I'll set mine, a 1/4 inch. Or if I'm out on the street, I'll even come a little bit higher than that. I'll come up, you know, on the top edge of that black mark. I'll be 1/8 of an inch down. If I'm on the street, not four-wheeling, I'll have it set to where it's just 1/8 inch down to that top edge of the float. And what I like to do is I like to look for these late 70s ones. If you can find the late 70s, early 80s ones, they got this extra fuel bowl, we'll call it right there. That's actually notched, and it's into the fuel bowl. So when that fills up with gas, this fills up too. This will fill up about 1/3 to half the way. There's actually a little plastic cap that sets in here. But when you pull your top plate off of a running vehicle, this is about half full when you pull that plastic cap out of there. Well, that gives you all the more gas on demand, because once you start dumping these wide open like that, you know, you might only been opening them that far before. Once you take that vacuum or that rod off and set them up to where they dump all the way now, you need every drop of gas in here you can get. I've seen some of the rebuild specs had the float level, you know, lower than that black line, like 3/8 of an inch below this here. If you do that, you're going to suck that bowl dry, dumping them secondaries wide open like that. So, and the other thing I like about the 70s is it's got this right here. You can see this is the primary metering needles. There's a primary metering needle on each side. I didn't put the spring under here, but this floats up and down. This is sucked all the way down, and then when you floor it, your vacuum drops, that spring overcomes the vacuum. It lifts the needle up out of the jet to the skinny part of the needle so you get maximum gas. So you can see that rod on the back of it right there. Try to get that to focus in a little better. Come on, baby. It's trying. You can see that little pin anyhow on the back of that. This right here, there we go. This right here you can adjust where this stops at. This will bottom out. This will come up in power mode and back down in cruise mode. And you can adjust this here up or down. And you can set where your primary metering needles are going to bottom out. So you can set your mixture really lean for cruise mode is what I'm saying. The last road trip I did to Phoenix, my 400 small block stock Q-Jet headers, 35-inch tires. I got 16.5 miles to the gallon average from Colorado to Phoenix, so that's pretty good on 35-inch tires at stock 77 basically. But anyhow, if you're going to run them secondaries like I showed you, I didn't get into it much in that other video, set your float as high as you can get it. This one's set, you can see it's right up to that black mark. Or if you go by the gauge, it's set right at 8:30 seconds. So don't set it any lower than 1/4 inch, because you need every drop of gas you can get like that. So, and this is what I was talking about on the filters in that video. Don't run these metal or stone filters up in here, because once you start dumping your secondaries open like that and sucking that much gas, you can't suck enough fuel through these damn little things to keep up with the demand that you need. So you'll get 5-6 seconds into your secondaries, pow, whoop, think you're gonna rip by somebody and your stuff falls on its face because this damn little filter can't let gas through fast enough. So, and I don't like these little paper ones.